Big dog in the yard. I don't talk, I don't talk, I don't talk, Big dog in the yard. I don't talk.
Yo, this is a dope spot here, man. Like, and this joint in the cut. You know, when I came in, I didn't even realize it was a door. This was a real, it was a wall. This man is living luxurious, man.
Yeah, I mean, I want to make sure it was the right presentation because I am a business, so you wanna represent the right way. And as much as you may want to jump out immediately, you just gotta wait until the things are lined up the right way.
Well, you definitely set the standard for OPP. I'll tell you that for real. Cause yeah, this is nice.
You know, I've been talking to you a little bit now, like, yo, we're gonna do something. You know.
This is nice. No, I'm looking forward to this. Now, again, I appreciate you reaching out to us, and you know, really doing the interview, wanting to spread this knowledge. We got a dope interview coming up, but before we get into that, we want to welcome Opposing Perspectives Podcast. I'm your host, Dale. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, IG. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We got a brother who has been winning since he's been home for about 5 years. I mean, he is doing big things, doing really well for himself, and he has, you know, a lot of knowledge about financial literacy that he wants to spread, and you know how that combines and coincides with the law as well. We have this brother, Winforever. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
You know, the first question I want to ask, you know, actually, you know, you can tell us, what is your purpose?
Well, my purpose, to make it short and not make it too long, is family supremacy. I believe that everything starts with the family. Whereas though before, when I was younger, coming up as a young man, not seeing that myself, once you come into that enlightening, you understand like, oh, all right, it's supposed to keep, you know, family wealth, knowledge, and pass that down so your family don't be in poverty. Mm-hmm. Poverty is slavery. Slavery to your own thoughts. Slavery to society. If your family not teaching you, or if you're not in a family culture, now you're just accepting society's culture. So now you're doing whatever they tell you to do. And those things could be all wrong. Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to your estate. Your estate is your property. Everyone has an estate. Whether if you was a crackhead or a dope boy or whoever, when you die, you're going to have an estate, and they can probate it, or you can have it and have assets that you pass down to family members. And this is common sense stuff that we know without using any legal jargon.
Yeah.
Right? But what we don't know is how to organize that. You know what I'm saying?
That's real. Before we go more into that, where are you from?
Well, I'm from the Camden culture. I'm going to say that. Because geographically, that's a family named Camden, right? So I can't really patriotically, you know, be like, yo, I'm from Camden. Like, that's repping somebody's family name. But I'm from the Camden culture, you know?
Gotcha.
So I'm technically from my mother, right? I'm from my mother. I'm from heaven. I'm from where God said we came from before we fell from grace.
Nah, that's deep. That's deep. So, you know, I understand you did some time. Were you into financial literacy before going in, or was this something that came about while you were on the inside?
I wouldn't say financial literacy. I would say I always wanted to be rich. I'm going to say that. And I'm going to say when I was behind the wall, it was more so, I looked at it like...
So you're saying before you went in, you just knew that you always wanted to be rich? You wanted to control your own situation, your own destiny?
Yeah, because growing up, seeing, you know, adults in my family not really be able to figure it out, I used to ask questions. I'm like, well, why? Why are we not rich? Or I seen my grandmother with $900. I'm like, we rich, right? Because $100 was the most, 100, the number was the most I seen on the chart at school. So I'm like, if that's the biggest number, we gotta be rich then, right? You know? Because in your mind as a child, you think limitless. So rich seemed like a limitless thing. Like there's no boundaries, you know?
So while on the inside, what made you really start getting into your studies? Because now you're You're not worried about just getting rich. Now you're studying the law of money and the power of money and what it actually means. It's not just the money, but there's a meaning behind it.
Facts.
So what made you go to that? Because like we just talked about before camera, you said there are no books about financial literacy or anything like that on the inside.
You gotta order them, yeah.
So how did that?
So, to be honest, like, I always looked at it like, once I got into something, I'm wholeheartedly in it, right?
Obsessed with it, right?
Obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
So once I wanted to be into sports and that as a young man, and I seen the streets as a way that was quick for me,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I'm invested in this, right? And I invested that, my mentality, everything into it, and picked up the habits, the attitude, all that. What I understood was we started coming into a lot of money when I was like in my early 20s. Mind you, I did 5 when I was 17, came home 22. Came home, I had a couple fellas that I grew up with that was winning, right? Dudes I consider as my brothers, they was winning. So I fell right into it like, come on. But I still was high-headed, still, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I wound up in a situation that put me on the run. But while on the run, we still was getting money. And we was at a dealership one time and I wanted to cop this Benz. And my man told me, he said, that'll get us hot. So being in prison, I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm still going to, get into that, right? Because it's a business. You know what I'm saying? That was where my mind was at. So I said, I got to learn how to wash this money, basically, right? I got to learn how to wash the money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really got me into learning the law, learning LLCs, credit, and all this, because it only made sense, right? I don't want to walk on eggshells. I want to get money and relax.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to risk my freedom and do all this stuff, let me learn how to do this correct. Look at Lucky Luciano and Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky taught him how to set up a board of directors in order to establish a real life corporation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they'll break down shares of this corporation and, be able to run this thing like a real oiled machine,
Mm-hmm.
a well-oiled machine, where they have accounting and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They got to bring their books, right? And with doing that, you got to you accumulate property, because that's how you build wealth, by accumulating property. The more assets you have, the more credits you can create.
Mm-hmm.
You're the creator of the credit now, not the bank. It's just more so a collateral thing. You have something to lose. They're not really loaning you anything. They're really discounting whatever they give you. Let's say you got $400 million in assets.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to give you, let's say, $370 million in cash to participate in the public system.
Mm-hmm.
So just understanding, like, I want to be dominant, right? And I want to live my life, and I want to be unlimited. So that's what I'm saying. I seen where the streets wasn't really that, because why are we risking our freedom and doing all this, but we can't enjoy it? I can't wear certain jewelry. I can't drive certain cars. But then what really hit me was that to leave that alone got to be a moral thing, because there's nothing really stopping you if you understand how to, like, get around. If I could get around it, then I could still do that. But why? I don't want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? What I understand is when you give life, you get rich. So if I give knowledge, I get rich. If I give poison, I'm gonna get death.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about putting. It's pretty much the law of attraction. What
Exactly.
you put out there is what you're going to get back.
Exactly.
And you're trying to put good energy out there to receive good, and you're going to draw great attention to yourself. Great people, good people, like-minded people, to yourself. So I get that. On the next note, I want to know more about what are your business ventures right now.
So right now, as far as on the investing tip, we get, when I say we, me and my team, we will acquire raw metals, right, and let those accumulate, and investment properties to flip. But we also have some that we hold. So just recently, me and my wife acquired some property out in Ohio, and that property in Ohio, mind you, we're on the East Coast, Ohio, like Midwest, considered Midwest, right?
Yeah.
But the internet allow us that global, that connection where we can access people quick that's in whole other states, right? Whereas though we ain't had this when I was 16, 17, 18, but I had that type of ambition. Whereas though if I'd have knew this, I'd have been doing that, right? So, yeah, we'd get property like that and hold, right? And let's say we could hold for 3 months until, there's a buyer, until there's a lucrative offer, and then we just flip it.
So how long have you guys been doing this? You just started it this year, a couple years ago, or?
No, so like you said, within the 5 years, it's been up and down. I've been winning because I haven't been subjecting myself to the things I've done in the past, right? So my win more so is like the peace of mind that I've been able to create, right? That's first. The health aspect, the peace of mind that I'm able to like I said, relax and not be on edge and paranoid because of the life I was living so vehemently, like, you know what I mean? Die hard into it, like on the street, you know what I mean? So during the course of this time, I say since 2021, we've really been in the market of investing and starting off with a holding company, look, right, with no assets, you feel me? But we started with the holding company. So as we reaching out and talking to people, they looking at us like, why we don't, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be known if you in that space with a holding company. They're like, who? Because we started prominence,
So, okay, the holding company, how did you guys start that off? Is that what you're saying? You started a holding company?
Yeah, so when you think of a holding company, all it does is hold assets. So that could just be stocks and bonds, right? And like I said, it's a strategic thing, right? Whereas though you're holding it in order to get something else.
Okay.
So you get the credit. So instead of me going to go build credit the conventional way, I acquire assets. The money not going to get it for you. It's the tangible assets that will, And then when you think of the different loopholes when it comes to taxes does what? They take the money from you before you can do anything with it. But when you understand how to invest, you have to utilize entities like LLCs, corporations, and trusts. And my go-to thing is trusts and LLCs, or I just use trusts or private management associations, right? Whereas though the trust holds the LLC or the private management association as an asset, right? And as long as it's generating cash flow, I can also use the projection of what those businesses are going to do in order to get the credit also, right? To get the funding, the loan. That's when we get into private equity. And there's two sides of that. I could be the one that's, getting the loan, or I could be the one that's giving out the loan, right? And when you get in the loan, no tax. They don't tax the loan. It's for investing,
Wow. No, I like how you break that down. Wow, that's dope. So in your case, what would be your guys' assets?
Houses.
Okay.
But technically, it's not the house. It's the paper. So the titles, deeds, those are the assets.
The contracts that you stay talking about.
Yeah. So a title, you got to look at a title as a security, right? Securities are stocks. It's a financial asset for investment purposes. So the more securities you have, right, the more titles you have, the more shares of a corporation you have. Every city is incorporated. So the more titles you have within that city, the more shares of that corporation you have.
But does that include your stocks and your bonds as well?
No, because we talking about, let's say, stocks that's connected to PIMCO or stocks that's connected to Coca-Cola or something like that. Nah, that's for their corporation. I'm just talking about in the city aspect. Like in the real estate aspect, if you got a McDonald's, like the movie The Founder, he was able to push them to the side because he had more voting rights. They founded the name, the trademark, but he actually put locations in multiple places across America. So he became a shareholder. Name. No, McDonald's became a household name, but I'm talking about he became a shareholder of a company because he had a lot of stock certificates. So we just got to look at the titles instead of saying they just house titles. No, they're stock certificates technically. They're securities that allow you, shareholder rights within a city, within a corporation.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you breaking that down. We're going to take a quick break. We've been running, so we'll be back in a little bit, all right?
What up, what up? This your boy Khaled. What I need y'all to do right now, I need y'all to run over to Amazon Prime and get that SOS, Sons of Sins. It's the hottest thing out in the streets right now. Go tune in with us right now, Sons of Sins.
Street lifestyle might seem attractive, but most time it leads to chaos and destruction. This is a Camden story, North to be exact.
I've been talking to Big Shot. He gonna furnish whatever we buy. They got the best coke out right now. You ready for that mission?
Hell yeah. Just wish I knew more about it, though. They going in there strapped for war, man. This shit's serious.
We gonna do more than just trap, you know?
Man, give me everything, man.
What the fuck? What the fuck happened? Got him!
Niggas respect the big guns. It's an intimidation factor, you feel me?
The main rule with this shit right here is you rather get caught with these motherfuckers than get caught without them.
Some wild cowboy shit, man.
So y'all motherfuckers causing havoc out in the streets, huh?
Look, man, Taino sent us. To see if you wanna get down with this thing of ours.
Why Taino didn't come, man? We 20 years in. Should make it happen, man. Fuck them Camden niggas, you know? You know, it's always a green light.
Hey, listen, man, we got something online for you, man. You up for it? Who it is?
All your friends is dead. What, you trying to be the next one?
I done came a long way from being broke. Just to know these streets ain't never give us hope. Thank God I was born with the hustle in me. Stay solid through the shit that broke them other niggas.
Hey, it's your boy Dale, and we're back with OPP. We got Winforever. Getting ready, getting rejuvenated, sipping his coffee, man. He got a couple books that he's written. Actually, he said he has 6 books on Amazon right now, but he has 2 right here on the couch. He actually has his notepad from when he was originally, studying finances and law. You want to get into that? Tell us about those books. What's the title of them?
Yeah, so this book right here, first let me take you from the beginning. The first book is called From the Ground to the Crown. And that's a book that I wrote in 2021. Since then, I've done 5 additional books. They all on Amazon. Genesis of Trust, Convey Trust, and The Straw Man, Trust God. These are a trilogy. And they capture a story of being intellectually dominant,
okay,
right? And entering the world of money with the understanding of, I gotta dominate, I gotta control land, I gotta, unify my people, So like, if you're familiar with Marcus Garvey and his movement, so it's literally a spinoff of that. Like, these are the relatives of Marcus Garvey, but in my own way, right? My own fiction way. Mm-hmm. It's not based on none of his family members, but it's also based on W.E.B. Du Bois, because Du Bois was his
rival,
his protagonist. Like he was his opposite, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas though Garvey wanted to be outside of the system, and W.E.B. Du Bois wanted to be accepted in the system. And to this day, we still got people that work in Congress like, I'm black and I should be accepted. And that's what Garvey was saying. These people don't want to accept you. Why are you beasting to be in that? All you got to do, what it comes down to, is economics. If you create your own economy, you don't need anything. If you're not under someone else's economy, you control. If you're not under theirs. So whatever's going on when they say the market is down and this and that, the market is the people. We're just not buying. That's what they're just not, specifically saying the people are not buying.
Why
but real quick, let me.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So these notepads are just like notes that I took when I was in prison.
Okay.
So when I was in the law library, I would look into the Corpus Juris Secundum or American Jurisprudence. These are law encyclopedias.
Can you hold them up a little bit?
He's raggedy, so they got time in.
So they like 10 years, 10 years old?
So, I mean, since the time of me leaving from behind the wall, they about, with the counting of the time that I did with it, yeah, they about at least 10 years.
At least 10 years, okay.
And what I learned about the law is everything winds up interfacing with the law.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Like, you're going to wind up meeting somewhere where you're going to have a lawyer. The more money, the more contracts involved.
Mm-hmm.
And the more legal jargon, legalese that you're going to need someone to interpret for you if you can't yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to really dig into that, right? And figure out how I would be able to find the loopholes myself.
Okay. So the one thing that you brought up was, with the books, like, what is, you wrote these books. No one, I don't even think you really posted anything about them or really said much about them. What's the plan? Like,
see, that's the thing. I have on Instagram, it's just I have not been being a content creator. I create content. I create, intellectual property. I just not have been that motivated in the marketing space because I still got to put time and hours in studying, 6-7 hours. Then I'm also helping people privately, educating them. My cup say best teacher. You know what I mean? I ain't say it, they say it,
Sure.
So it's all about what you invest your time into. And right now, it's like, I'm like, you know what? I gotta create a way where I know for sure that I can create the financing myself. As long as I can create the financing, there's nothing stopping, there's nothing holding us up. I could go to these people and they don't dictate whether I could get 500,000 or 5 million, But if I go to them and they can dictate that, that's put me against time.
What's the biggest struggle with people of our color, educating themselves on finances and being entrepreneurs and being more business minded and starting their own economy?
I mean, the division of religion, right? The division of being colors, right? Because we're not in tune with the real education of who we are. We keep calling ourselves colors, black, this, that, yellow, light skin. So that keeps creating what? Division. So we're not able to step outside of that, and I think that's the main issue because it gives you a status as well, right? Black gives you a status. Civil rights, laws, and things, those give you a status. And they put you in a status of where you get a little bit. You're a minority and things like that. But when you understand being rich is just about understanding the contract, it don't give you no status. Rich don't got no color. You're not a color. Anyway, you're a substance. Tell you even in the Bible, in the Quran, Allah said, go grab that dirt. Dirt is made of minerals.
So you think having money erases race and color?
Put it like this. Everything that we've learned about race and color is a psychological trap, right? That was just put out there and we fell for it. Because like I said, in your household, that's where it starts at. If you're taught a certain way, when you get out there in society and people talking about race, you don't know what they talking about because you learned this way at home. It's only one God. When it comes to religion, right? Every religion, quote unquote, claim to believe in one God, right? Monotheism. But if we believe in one God, the dichotomy, the division is created from what? Is it culturalism? Is it capitalism? Right? So that's what we gotta really think about. It's really what's not really being said versus what's being said. Because if we all really believed in one God, what are we arguing about? It wouldn't make sense.
Nah, that's real. That's real.
So the rich and the money and all that, no, that's just resources. Because resources get you knowledge. Right? If yesterday price ain't the same as today's price. So right now I'm $7 to come take a class on Telegram. I'm $7, right? But the more my time is put in other places, that price change. You feel me? My time change. So if you're not in that rich mindset for one to be an investor, like if you don't have that mindset, you're not going to think that investing to learn is going to get you an ROI now, a return on your investment now. And it doesn't. You got to apply it. Because I could tell you that money is conceptual, because it is. It's a concept. Money is a medium of exchange.
Yeah.
The real wealth, the real asset is you. You create the value.
Because you create the money.
Exactly. But it's getting someone to understand that mindset. Can't nobody buy a mindset. You gotta develop it. I can show you what the mindset is about. I could give you an example. Like the Panthers, for example. When they were being, put it like this, they all started off young into what they were doing, right? When they came into it, they was young, 16, 17, 22, stuff like that, right? And they had vigor, they had life, they was excited about going into togetherness, and they had a reason to come together, right? 33 Strategies of War say you have to have a common enemy, you know what I'm saying? They had a common opposer, if not enemy, right? Someone that opposed them. When you do the statistics, right? Economically, whether if it was Black Wall Street that got pummeled, they had multiple businesses. We could have been a lot more independent, had our own government, because governments are based on what? Commerce, whose commerce is accepted more widely. But if we're on this same land trying to dominate, right? And if I came over here to dominate, why would I let you get back in place, right? And the laws were created against us, right? So if the laws are created against you, you can't even fight me back. And that's what we seen. So that could go into a whole nother thing, but
that's real though.
But it's been multiple instances like that. Our culture of people had a bank, right, where they assigned a fiduciary that wasn't from our culture, and he swindled all the money. Did we get paid back? No. 40 acres that everyone can have, evenly divided, is not like that. It's the same get down and lay down mentality, right? I'm going to take over this, you know? And you know how they rule, right? Through contracts, bro. They don't have claim to the land. They got claim through contracts. So we really have abandoned the position to control government. So if we don't govern, someone else can come and claim, you know, through abandonment, right? They could be like, well, you abandoned the land, you abandoned the laws, you abandoned Congress, so we're going to take this position for you. Don't worry about it. We got it. We may not be from here, but we're going to, quote unquote, organize it and civilize it for you. And they didn't. Throughout history, we civilized, you know, England. Like when they was coming from England, Germany, when they was coming as the Slav, meaning slave. When they came from there, that was the first wave of quote unquote European slaves that was going into Africa. And you know, Africa going too much into like the history, right? But Africa was not Africa originally. You know, it was Ikibo land, right? But Africa was turned into Africa because of Scipio Africanus. Because it's all about taking over land. So they can name it what they want. New Jersey, New York, these are names that people accepted because of what? A contract. Money is based on acceptance. It's a concept. You know?
Yeah, no, if you look through history, it's all about gaining assets, and that's what anyone's did. The one who gains the most assets is going to be the more powerful one, going to be the person to dictate. I hear you on that, and what I ask is, so what is your goal in mind with knowing all of this now?
Just staying free. Because like I said, you know, family supremacy, it keeps, put it like this, right? Financial freedom is the only freedom that you should be worrying about. There is no other thing that's locking you or keeping you behind other than being financially free. Mm-hmm. Soon as you get paid, you know, from wherever you work or even as an investor, if that got to go out to another company, right? That's paying more than likely another family. That's paying their family. When really, it's not that you need to be paying things. You need to learn accounting. You know? Mm-hmm. And accounting is when you settle the books. You settle the account. Mm. The reason why there's a debt, because you're not settling the account.
The account. Well,
so when you settle the account, that means you're organizing your books. That's what that means. That means when they gave you a payable, you turn around and gave them a receivable. Mm-hmm. But you're also itemizing on your ledger what you received and then what you created to give them, because you're giving them credit every time you give them your signature. Mm. But you're not creating your own contract. Like a money order. You could create a money order. It tell you in the laws, negotiable instrument law, that you can create a money order. It don't say that it has to have a banking association route number on it. It just says that it has to follow the rules of negotiable instruments. Mm-hmm. You know?
No, that's real. That's real. No, much respect. As we're coming to a close, I want to ask you, so what is next? Any shout outs or anything that anybody you want to shout out, give credit to or whatever?
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to shout out my wife, my children, my family private, names irrelevant, but if you know me, you know my family. Slick, aka Taino, real dude, real brother, that's my brother, you know. He done broke bread with me behind the wall, gave me peanut butter and oatmeal when I ain't had nothing, you feel what I'm saying?
That's
like those survival kits. We done kicked it in the yard, did laps, you know what I'm saying? Helped me get my mind out the gutter when I still was thinking, doing destructive things, giving me his perspective, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Outside of that, you know, my family that know me, you know, extended family, but not much. Not many shout outs.
No, I got you. No, that was
my
good.
Brother AZ. AZ put me up on law first. One time we was in the yard, and he told me, he said, yeah, everybody here is incarcerated illegally. And I said, how? He said, because they take your name and they leverage it basically to do business. And you just don't know. So that's a fraudulent contract that they got you. It's no disclosure, you know? So that really took me down. Bro, what book should I be reading? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then I was trying to get my time back. So I'm like, what should I be studying? And that's where it all started. So I want to give a shout out to that brother. I got a brother out in Texas. He a part of the team.
That's what's up. So that's what's up.
Mind you, we are the League of Winners. That's what we call ourselves. That's the, I mean.
I thought on that phone call, that recording you sent me, I thought I heard somebody that sounded kind of country, so somebody from the South. So that's the bunch of Texas. Yeah. That's I used to live in Texas. That's how I know. Yeah. What's next?
What's next is just building up this entertainment company and just producing multi-millionaires, right? Everybody that we come in contact with that are serious. Obviously, my lane is education. We got, this is some merch that I got created, education gallery. That's going to be the line. But Winforever, like I said, that's the mindset. Winforever 97, I put the number because, you know, other people may use the name. So now, you know, Winforever 97. But the education gallery, from building our classes, right? Our class program, our mentoring, and going into this entertainment. So the book, like I said, the book is based on the education. right? Giving people the information through dialogue, through us talking in the book, and you seeing it in real time, but being entertained. We're going to do the movie like that. But the movie, I'm gonna keep it updated. This ain't gonna be the last time we,
No, most definitely. Most definitely.
I'm gonna just keep the name reserved though.
Okay.
I'm trying to reach out to Cuban Links, but I need to see their manager. I need to see her manager so we can try to connect the dots.
Yeah.
She had played like the role I got in mind for her is something with law.
Okay.
Being so she's already in that field, right? And like I told you, W.E.B. Du Bois, he's alright. So being though he's the opposer of Marcus Garvey, technically my other side would be the Marcus Garvey side, right? So the opposer, W.E.B. Du Bois, I would cast her to play that role of the, in the law, the prosecutor, things like that, right? And plus I want to keep it a Jersey, right? I want to give Jersey something where we like, yo, this is a memorable movie. And it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It's something that got headliners or quotables.
Quotables,
like,
lessons,
quotable bars or quotable dialogue. Like, yo, I remember when they said this, or I remember when they did this in the movie. Like, damn, that hit hard. Or, yo, this planted the seed, Yeah. And then I also give the youngins within the area, they look at it like, yo, I could do that if they did it. That's what Slick did to me.
Yeah.
I'm a grown man.
Slick.
I'm a grown man.
That is definitely Slick. Slick feel like, man, he be like, man, he bleed just like I bleed, man. I can do anything somebody else can do. Ain't nobody more special than me. Not saying not too arrogant, but he believes in himself.
Yeah, you gotta be a creator. And, your mindset gotta be, I'm a creator and I could dominate in my space without being arrogant, without the hubris. But at the same time, you can't be. No one dominates by being meek. It don't happen like that. You can't be docile. You can't be, the nice guy don't win. It's just not like that. But you don't got to be the asshole either.
Yeah, it's like
it's a balance.
You can't be too high. You can't be too low. Yeah, that's real. Well, listen, man, we appreciate you. This is really dope. Thank you for having us. Thank you for spreading your knowledge, your truth, and sharing that with us. We definitely gonna link up again. Shout out Winforever, y'all. This is a dope brother. Really dope.
Without the S though, Win.
Winforever. I'm sorry, Winforever. This is dope. This is your boy Dell. We're closing out OPP. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and everything. Turn around real quick. You want to show them? Let me lift him right up.
Legal winners.
Legal winners, yo. Legal winners. Check him out. Check him out.
Come join the winning team. Just be prepared to learn.
Big dog in the yard. I don't talk. I don't talk. Big dog in the yard.